There's a kind of exhaustion that has nothing to do with how much you've done and everything to do with how much you've been carrying. The mental clutter, the emotional noise, the pressure to keep up, say yes, stay connected, stay productive, even when part of you is begging for stillness. It's not just burnout. It's a sign that somewhere along the way you started living on autopilot, and the cost is starting to show. The Stoics warned us about this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you seek tranquility, do less, or do what's essential and do it with intention." That's the mindset we're tapping into today. This isn't about more effort. It's about less distraction. It's about stripping away the habits that quietly sabotage your peace, your focus, your power. In this video, we're going to talk about 9 simple habits that seem small but carry massive weight over time. If you've been feeling stuck, scattered, or just not quite like yourself lately, one of these might be the reason. If you appreciate content that gets to the heart of things, do me one small favor. Hit that subscribe button. It keeps this space going and helps more people like you find their way back to stillness. Let's dive in. These shifts might be the start of something real. Living in constant reaction. Some days life doesn't feel like a journey. It feels like a chase. You wake up and before you've even had a chance to breathe, you're sprinting. The phone lights up, someone's already upset, your mind's racing through tasks, and suddenly, you're not living. You're dodging. You're fielding. Texts, brushing off stress, reacting to every curveball life throws. It's not momentum, it's survival mode. And over time, that constant reactivity, it chips away at you. You start mistaking motion for meaning, exhaustion for effort. But you're not built to live like that. Stoicism tells us there's something untouchable within us, a stronghold that can't be shaken by outside noise. Marcus Aurelius called it the inner citadel, that immovable part of your soul that doesn't rise or fall with fortune. And you know what? That citadel, it's already in you, always has been. You don't have to earn it. You just have to stop letting the world trample through it. Every time you let a stranger's opinion dictate your mood or your inbox hijack your morning, you're handing over the keys to that sacred space. Why, Socrates once said, "To find yourself, think for yourself." But how can you think for yourself when your attention is constantly hijacked? When your energy is scattered, it's nearly impossible to hear your own thoughts, let alone your deeper instincts. And that's exactly what modern life is designed to do. Scatter you, your attention, your focus, your sense of who's in control. It's like your nervous system is on speed dial for the world's chaos. But here's the radical idea. You don't have to pick up the call. Think of your mind as a still body of water. Every notification, every angry comment, every unexpected delay, those are stones thrown into it. But here's the secret. The water always settles if you let it. You're not the splash. You're the stillness beneath it. Carl Jung once wrote, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." That's what Stoicism helps us do. It trains us to stop chasing calm in chaos and start finding calm in character, because responding from within beats reacting from without, every single time. Plato believed the soul had 3 parts: reason, spirit, and appetite. When you live on autopilot, your appetite, your impulses, take over. But when you pause, when you breathe before you speak, when you hold back before you fire off that message, that's reason taking the wheel. That's you stepping into alignment with your higher self. Let's be real. Reactivity is easy. It takes no strength to snap back, to panic, to blame. But it takes wisdom to pause, discipline to reflect, power to choose your response. That's what the Stoics were all about. Not suppressing emotion, but mastering it. Not pretending the world doesn't shake you, but refusing to let it break you. Expecting the worst. It's wild how easily we get caught in the habit of expecting the worst. It sneaks up on us. You start with one bad experience, maybe someone let you down or something didn't go the way you planned, and without realizing it, you begin building this quiet belief that life is just one big trap, that people can't be trusted, that success isn't for you, that nothing ever works out. Before you know it, your thoughts aren't just negative, their default. And that's dangerous. Because when your default setting is, this is probably going to suck, that becomes your reality. Not because life got worse, but because your vision did. Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. And he meant it literally. Think long enough in a dark hue and your world will start to feel dark, even if the sun is shining. That's how perception works. It's not passive, it's creative. Your thoughts don't just reflect your world, they shape it. Aristotle once taught that we are what we repeatedly do. But I'd argue, we also become what we repeatedly think. You can't expect peace while constantly telling yourself the storm is coming. You can't expect love if you assume betrayal is just around the corner. If you're always preparing for disappointment, you won't have hands free to receive anything else. Let's break the illusion. Thinking negative doesn't make you realistic. It makes you closed. It narrows your possibilities. It blinds you to opportunities, connection, joy. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That inner voice whispering, they don't really like you or this will never work. It's not fate, it's just an old script, and you have the power to edit it. Plato believed that true knowledge begins with recognizing how little we actually know. That includes the assumptions we make about people and about the future. What if they aren't out to get you? What if this time does work out? What if your mind has been lying to you, not to hurt you, but to protect you from a past that's already over? We forget this. Our brain's number one job isn't truth, it's survival. It's scanning for threats. That's helpful when you're in danger, but crippling when you're trying to grow. Stoicism teaches us to step back from those emotional reactions and ask, is this thought useful? Is it true? Or is it just noise? Postponing your life. There's this strange comfort in delay. We convince ourselves that tomorrow is where the magic will happen. Tomorrow we'll wake up early. Tomorrow we'll start the diet. Tomorrow we'll have a tough conversation, chase the dream, break the pattern. Tomorrow becomes the storage closet where we dump all our unfinished intentions. And then we wonder why it starts to feel so crowded inside. But here's the part we don't like to face. Tomorrow doesn't exist. It's just an idea, a soft cushion we use to pad the hard truth that we're scared to start today. Marcus Aurelius, writing nearly 2,000 years ago, nailed it when he said, you could be good today, but instead you choose tomorrow. That line hits, doesn't it? Because we know it's true. Deep down, we know we could take the first step right now, but instead we scroll, we postpone, we talk ourselves out of it. And then we wonder why nothing changes. Carl Jung once said, procrastination is the thief of time. But more than that, it's the thief of identity. Every time you delay what matters, you're reinforcing a version of yourself that plays small, that avoids discomfort, that trades long-term gain for short-term ease. And the cost isn't just wasted time, it's wasted potential, wasted courage, wasted life. Stoicism is brutally honest about this. Time, they remind us, is not something we own, it's on loan. Epictetus put it plainly, while you delay, life speeds on. That's the hard truth the Stoics accepted, that every moment you're given is a moment you'll never get back. Not in some morbid way, but in a motivational way. Knowing that time is slipping by makes now feel sacred. It's a fire under your feet, not a shadow on your back. Now think about this. If you carried a backpack full of golden hours, literal shining hours of your life, and every day someone reached in and took a few handfuls without asking, how long would it take before you clutched that bag a little tighter? How long before you stopped handing it out so carelessly? That's what's happening every day. The only difference is the thief is invisible. It's distraction, it's doubt, it's delay. Socrates said, beware the barrenness of a busy life. Because we often think we're moving. We fill our days with errands and updates and endless plans. But we're not actually progressing. There's a difference between motion and meaning, between busy and becoming. And that's the wake-up call. You don't need more time. You need more decisions. One clean, committed choice to act today. Not perfectly, not dramatically, just honestly. Just one thing you've been putting off. Do it. Email the person, open the book, apply for the thing, clean the room. It doesn't matter what it is, only that it's been lingering. Plato believed that discipline was the bridge between desire and fulfillment. Your future self isn't built on what you dream about. It's built on what you start, what you stick with, and what you finish. Indecision. There's this quiet kind of exhaustion that comes not from doing too much, but from not deciding what to do at all. You sit with a choice for days, weeks, sometimes months. You overthink it, revisit it, ask everyone what they think, weigh the pros and cons so many times the paper tears. And in the meantime, nothing moves. You stay stuck. Because here's the trap no one talks about. Waiting feels safe. But really, it's where dreams go to die. Slowly, silently. The Stoics were crystal clear about this. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." And indecision is one of the biggest time thieves out there. It feels like you're buying time, but you're really just burning it. Every "I'll decide later" pushes the future you want further out of reach. Not because you're not capable, but because you didn't choose a direction. Aristotle once said that choice, not chance, determines your destiny. He knew that action is what makes potential real. Thinking is useful, planning is great, but at some point you've got to pick a lane. The longer you linger at the crossroads, the harder it gets to move at all. And that hesitation? It turns into regret faster than you'd believe. Let me ask you, how many times have you told yourself you'd decide soon, only to watch the opportunity fade away? Maybe it was a job offer, maybe a relationship, maybe just speaking up for yourself. And you know what's worse than a wrong decision? No decision, because at least with action you learn, you grow, you move, but indecision, it keeps you circling the same spot, wearing grooves into the ground but never going anywhere. Carl Jung once noted, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." And sometimes, that's what indecision masks. We're not afraid of the choice. We're afraid of owning the outcome. We're afraid of stepping into responsibility, of making the wrong call and having no one to blame but ourselves. But here's the shift. You can handle it. Even if it's messy, even if it's uncertain. You're built for forward motion. Being always available. It's easy to forget that just because someone can reach you anytime, doesn't mean they should. Somewhere along the line, we started treating our phones like emergency lines, our inboxes like command centers, and ourselves like customer service reps who never go off duty. The pings, the red dots, the unread messages, they don't just ask for your time, they take it. Little by little, you give away your peace, one reply at a time. And before you know it, you're burnt out. Not because you're doing too much, but because you're available too often. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you seek tranquility, do less." But in today's world, doing less starts with being less accessible. It means recognizing that not every question deserves an immediate answer, and not every demand is your responsibility. We think constant availability equals reliability, but truthfully, it just makes you scattered. You can't think clearly when your attention's being pulled in 20 directions. You can't focus when the world has a 24/7 backstage pass to your mind. Carl Jung once said, "Solitude is where one discovers one is not alone." And solitude doesn't mean isolation. It means reclaiming space, protecting your mind from the chaos of constant input, giving your inner voice room to breathe. That voice gets drowned out when you're replying out of guilt or scrolling out of habit. Plato spoke of the soul being pulled in different directions like a chariot with wild horses. That's what modern life is. Everyone pulling at your time, your energy, your attention. But who's holding the reins? If you're not choosing where your focus goes, someone else is choosing for you. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus said, "We should discipline ourselves in small things and from there proceed to greater." So start small. Say no to one thing. Mute one thread, block the noise that doesn't serve you. You're not Google. You're not on call for the entire internet. You're a human being with a finite amount of focus and a life that deserves your full presence. Constant rushing. There's this pressure in the air we all breathe. Go faster, do more, be everywhere. If you're not grinding, you're falling behind. If you're not hustling, you're wasting your potential. That's what we're told day in and day out. But here's what almost no one asks. Where exactly are we rushing to? And more importantly, why? Stoicism isn't against effort. The Stoics weren't lazy or passive. Marcus Aurelius ran an empire. Epictetus taught through pain and adversity. But none of them believed in blind motion. They believed in deliberate action, thoughtful steps, knowing not just what you're doing, but why you're doing it. Seneca put it perfectly. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. And isn't that the truth? Because when you're always in a rush, what gets lost is your ability to be present. You miss the scenery. You forget what brought you to the path in the first place. Hustle becomes habit, and not in a good way. You wake up one day and realize you've been sprinting in circles, chasing something vague with no finish line in sight. Aristotle believed that virtue lies in moderation, not in excess. So when ambition turns into obsession, when action becomes frenzy, you're no longer building a life. You're just reacting to the fear of standing still. And stillness isn't the enemy. It's often where the best decisions are made. Carl Jung once said, "Hurry is not of the devil. It is the devil." That rush you feel, that constant pressure, it robs you of depth, of clarity, of meaning. If you're always rushing, you don't get to decide your direction. You just try not to trip. And that's not living. That's surviving on speed. Plato believed that the good life requires knowing what is truly valuable and refusing to trade it for cheap substitutes. Hustle without purpose is one of those substitutes. It feels like progress, but it's often distraction in disguise. So pause, reflect. Ask yourself honestly, what am I chasing, and is it worth it? Are you climbing a ladder leaned against the wrong wall? Are you filling your time with busyness to avoid deeper questions? The Stoics would challenge you to slow down, not to stop, but to think, to act with wisdom, to move with clarity. Because life isn't about how fast you can go. It's about whether you're going in the right direction. Holding on to grudges. There's a strange thing we do as humans. We hold on to pain like it's proof. Proof that we were wronged. Proof that it mattered. Proof that we're still here. And sometimes, that pain takes the shape of a grudge, a quiet, bitter little flame we keep burning inside, thinking it gives us strength. But the truth? It doesn't give us power. It drains it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." In other words, don't carry their behavior in your body. Don't let what someone else did turn into something you keep doing to yourself. Because that's what grudges become. Self-inflicted wounds over and over again. Aristotle taught that anger is easy, but holding it the right way, for the right reason, at the right time, that's hard. And most of us aren't even doing that. We're just stockpiling it. Bitterness becomes our armor, resentment becomes our identity. We start defining ourselves not by who we are, but by what hurt us, and that's a dangerous way to live. Carl Jung put it simply, what you resist persists. The more we push that anger down, the more it owns us. The more we replay the moment, the more it grows roots. Forgiveness isn't about saying it was okay. It's about saying, I'm done letting this follow me everywhere I go. And think about this. The person who hurt you might not even remember what they did. They've moved on. They're living their life. Meanwhile, you're dragging around their mistake like it's a bag of bricks with their name stitched on the side. You carry it into conversations, into your sleep, into new relationships. And every time, it slows you down. The Stoics would call this wasted energy. Seneca said, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. He understood that resentment doesn't just stay in your mind, it settles in your body, in your breath, in the way you speak and show up in the world. Let it go. Free that space in your soul. Make room for something better. Peace isn't found in holding on. It's in learning to release, and you're strong enough to do it. Consuming too much external noise. There's a kind of war going on around us, not with weapons, but with attention. Your mind is the battlefield, and every headline, every notification, every snarky post is trying to win a piece of it. And if you're not careful, you give it away. Not just your time, but your peace, your clarity, your ability to think and feel for yourself. 1 minute you're calm, sipping your coffee. The next, you've scrolled through 5 angry tweets, read 2 sensational headlines, and now you're wound up about things you can't control, involving people you don't even know. That's not just distraction, that's manipulation. And what's worse, sometimes it comes from people close to you, friends, family, voices that don't lift you up, but pull you down, stir the drama, feed the fire. The Stoics had a word for this: apatheia. Not to be confused with apathy, it's not about not caring. It's about not being controlled by every emotional storm. It's the ability to stay steady in chaos, anchored in your values, not someone else's noise. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That line still hits, especially now in a world that profits from your outrage. Socrates, too, warned against being swayed by public opinion. He believed in living a life guided by inner wisdom, not external noise. Yet today that noise is louder than ever. It's in your pocket, on your screen, whispering in your ear from morning till night. And every time you react without thinking, you hand over a little piece of your sovereignty. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." And when you let your mood be shaped by algorithms or your self-worth be measured by likes and comments, you stop living consciously. You become reactive, not reflective. Keeping the wrong company. Let's be honest, some people feel heavier than peace ever should. You talk to them, and afterward, it's like someone reached inside and pulled the energy right out of your chest. Not because they screamed at you or said anything cruel, but because their presence constantly drains more than it gives. And yet we keep them close. Why? Because it feels polite. Because we've known them forever. Because we're afraid of being alone. But here's the thing. Not everyone belongs in your inner circle. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your life. Trust isn't something you give out just because someone's around. It's earned, carefully, deliberately. The Stoics understood this well. True friendship to them was rare and sacred. Seneca warned, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Not louder, not flashier, better." Carl Jung took it even deeper when he said, "The meeting of 2 personalities is like the contact of 2 chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." The question is, what are you being transformed into? Are your interactions shaping you into a more grounded, calm, focused version of yourself? Or are you walking away anxious, irritated, unsure? Plato taught that the soul is influenced by the company it keeps. And he wasn't just talking about character. He was talking about energy. The emotional environment around you matters. If you're surrounded by chaos, you will start to live in reaction. If you're constantly justifying your choices or shrinking yourself to fit someone else's expectations, your spirit will quietly wear down. That's why protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's wise. You wouldn't leave your front door wide open all night, would you? Then why leave the doors of your mind and heart open to anyone with a clever line or a charming smile? Socrates believed the unexamined life wasn't worth living, and that includes your relationships. Who are you spending your time with? Who gets your deepest thoughts, your vulnerabilities, your dreams? Are they worthy of that trust? Or have they just been grandfathered in? Act accordingly, because your energy is sacred, and the people closest to you shape your future more than you realize. Protect that space like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. No one walks lighter than the one who's let go of what no longer belongs. Peace isn't found in the next achievement. It's found in the silence that follows release. And the sooner you stop carrying what was never yours to hold, the sooner you become who you were meant to be. If this spoke to you, there's another video waiting for you right here that'll take you even deeper. You'll want to see it. Thank you for being a part of your time. Your presence, it matters. And whenever you're ready to come back for more stillness, clarity, and truth, we'll be right here. What's one habit from this list you're ready to let go of today? Share it in the comments below.